I'm Blue Bailey.
And I'm Dextra and this is Reading is Fundamental.
The show where we talk about news in entertainment law.
Yes, that leather daddy
And that drag queen
are both licensed California attorneys.
We celebrate queerness,
sex positivity,
and reading bitches for filth.
And with that being said,
the library is now open.
Officially.
The library is open.
Because reading is what? Fundamental.
Fundamental.
The information on this podcast is for general information purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice for any individual, case, or situation. This information is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship. Sorry about it.
What?
Fundamental.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading is Fundamental. I'm Dextra
And I'm Blue Bailey.
Today we're doing things a little bit different because we have our first in-studio guest. I'm going to give an introduction. He's a handyman who makes a different kind of couture. His pieces have been seen on RuPaul's Drag Race, fashion shows, music videos, red carpets, on HBO's We're Here, and even placed upon the head of the teenage dream herself, Katy Perry. He's made a career out of making things that have never been made before. Please welcome Handmade by Jacob!
Yay! Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have an in-person guest.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here in person.
And we're catching up on Folsom today, so you can have all the tea that Stefan was up to.
I missed out, so I'm excited to hear.
Have you heard about it? Have you been?
I've been many times, but not in the past 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so you're overdue.
Yeah,
for a visit.
overdue.
Give us your rundown, Stefan. What was your whole weekend like?
So I pretty much had some work or volunteer event every single day from Wednesday to Sunday.
That's right.
I emceed the Powerhouse's Dirty Alley, which is just the showcase of demos. I had a book reading. I worked Mr. S's both in-store parties. And then at last minute volunteered at Real Bad, which the whole appeal of Real Bad is basically, it's really hard to get a ticket. And the whole appeal is being like, oh, you didn't get a ticket to Real Bad? How did you not get a ticket?
Wow.
I have a ticket. But my job was scanning people's tickets, so it was really interesting hearing people's stories about why their QR code wasn't working.
Oh.
Some people I genuinely feel really bad about because they bought the ticket secondhand and the ticket had already been scanned.
No.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But people were trying to pay off the bouncer. I heard at least 2 or 3, like, can I give you $100 to get in? And they're like, no. And I want to be like, I'm the motherfucker scanning tickets. Ask me.
You're like, I would like $100, please.
I would like, yes. But nobody did. Did you hear about the controversy?
No.
Okay, there's a lot of controversy.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Here we go.
She's spilling the tea already.
So it was one of the best Folsoms, I would say, since the pandemic. The attendance was up. It was great. There were people fucking and fisting in the street.
Yeah.
And that was the first complaint, is a video of someone getting fisted. And they're like, oh, my God, what about the children? Like, how do you fist on the street? That's unsanitary. And it's like, there's not children at this event. And, like, this is what this event is for. If you don't want to see that, don't go. But my favorite controversy was Austin Lacrosse walking around with shit smeared on him.
That was him?
That was him.
That was him?
As a commentary on consent. And I love her. I love her for this. I think, like, Folsom is for kink.
Okay.
If you want to
explain it a little bit more.
Okay. I mean,
because it was about consent. Why? Because so many people come up to them and like.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So you're at Folsom. You're at just any kind of like gay bar, and like there's going to be hands on you, people touching you, people trying to hug you, and they're not asking for it. And after a while, that gets a little annoying. It's unwanted. So Austin's social commentary was that he was going to smear shit on himself, and if you went and touched him non-consensually, that's on you. And people responded, well, I'm going to Folsom and I'm not consenting to see shit. And it's like, fuck off. Like,
this whole, like, I'm not consenting to hear the or to smell the smells. It's like, first of all, motherfucker, you live in San Francisco.
Yes.
You were literally stepping over shit and needles to get to this event. Like,
that was my favorite criticism, is someone was like, I didn't consent to smell shit when I went to San Francisco. And I'm like, you obviously haven't been here because that's just our baseline.
They need a longer disclaimer at the entrance now.
I know. Yeah. I can't even. I was like, whatever. I mean, of all places for this stunt to happen, I feel like that was the right place for that stunt to happen. And
yes.
I think it's like, yes, it's disturbing, but like life is disturbing, girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's so much stigma, I think, around like that particular kink. I mean, people get beat at Folsom. They're walking around with open wounds, and people are like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." They're not like, "Oh my god, what if I bump into you?" That's unhygienic. But in this case, they were. But my favorite part was maybe about like a week or two later, and someone else came out, and they were like, "I need to come out as the artist that drew on
Shut up. No.
and
For real?
and say that I didn't get anything from it." And I was like, "Okay, girl."
Wasn't it just letters?
Yes.
Oh no, girl. We're not like making a sculpture or anything on this. It was literally block letters.
It was block letters.
Was
yeah.
it his own shit? Whose was it?
You'll have to ask him.
Oh, we'll have to know.
To do a DNA swab later.
Right? Yeah, bump into him.
Dexter, what did you do for Folsom? Thank you for asking.
Oh my god, what did you do?
I did volunteer at the Mr. S party, which was nice.
You did.
I got to do coat check. I actually like doing coat check. I don't know. It's for some reason it's nice. It's like you get to see everybody come, right? Well, not come, but like you get to see everybody like come into the event, and then everybody like kind of undresses in front of you and then gives you their bag. It's great, and it's better at the beginning because nobody's messy and like just like you put the things away. It's shittier when like everybody comes back and they're all messy and it's like
Or covered in literal shit.
or covered in literal shit. He wasn't there. I got to do that, and then I didn't actually go to the fair. I was like, oh my
What?
god, so tired. Yeah, but I did go. My favorite event is the one that like Pup Amp does. He has his own little like Bloody Mary party every year. That's my favorite event for Folsom every time. It's before the fair. Everybody's like cool and chill. Everybody like has, you know, their like little gear on, ready to go to
Their little gear on.
their little gear on, their little costume before, and everybody's like excited, ready to go, and then everybody left to the fair, and I was like, I'm gonna go take a nap. Peace.
Yeah.
But-
and then we didn't see you for the rest of the year. You're supposed to go out. You didn't go out.
Was I supposed to?
Yeah, you had tickets for Deviants.
Oh, I
think
did.
you texted me and told me that you're going to bed.
You didn't even go to Deviant.
No, because I didn't have tickets.
I had to go to bed real.
I went to Real Bad.
Wow. How did you get a ticket to Real Bad?
I didn't. I volunteered to go for free.
Wow. I also saw Varla Jean Merman the next week. You don't know Varla Jean, or have you ever seen Varla Jean?
I have
Oh, have you?
several times.
Oh, okay, never mind. I
And
thought
I've
you
also
didn't.
ran into her out of face at Mr. F, S, and Wolf. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you know Varla Jean?
I know of Varla Jean.
Oh, girl, she's so hot out of drag. It's like, I love Danny's. And she's this hot muscle daddy outside of
Like,
drag. And then, like, amazing cabaret queen. Like, in drag, does these amazing
Is her
shows.
leg still broken?
No, but she did a whole number about it. Girl, she broke her leg slipping on a Tic Tac.
I don't buy it. I think that's for the show. I think she
Whatever
was like,
it is, the lore, whatever it is of
Yeah.
it, I'm living for it. The fact that like we're going with the story that she slipped on a Tic Tac, she's like called it her Tic Tac-cident, which I think is the funniest fucking thing ever. I live for her. She's like literally one of my all-time favorite queens ever. So I was excited to see her.
I'm glad you got to see her.
And I have recently hosted the International Association of Privacy Professionals LGBT After Party. Again, I got to do it in Washington, D.C. in April and just did it again in San Diego this year. I love this event, let me tell you. Like, everything about it I love. It's a group of like LGBT queer people at different companies who just kind of decided to come together, on this event, and it's become this huge thing. It's now like the party of this nerdy privacy law conference that everybody goes to, and they raise so much money. In Washington, D.C., we raised over $100,000 like in the one night. And this one was a smaller one, and we raised another $30,000.
Wow, it's just like Real Bad, except not. Didn't you meet like the owner of Grindr, or like the privacy attorney of Grindr?
So one of the organizers is the former data protection officer at Grindr. Hi, Ron, you're amazing.
Did you ask him why they steal all our data and sell it?
Well, he no longer works for Grindr, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, but it's like one of my favorite events. It's so amazing. I am like so privileged to even like be there and be in the room with these people. And I did feel like a large responsibility of hosting this event because it's like such a big important thing for all these people that spend so many months of their lives putting together. But I love it. It was Barbie themed. Like I pulled out these Barbie mixes, bitch. It was everything. I loved it.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming to that because you didn't come to my princess gig either.
Yeah, no, I was too busy seeing Lady Gaga.
Let's get into our mini topic. I wrote Typhoon Lagoon Vaginal Bleeding.
Oh my god, I love vaginal bleeding. It's my favorite. We went straight from shit to vaginal bleeding. What
Straight
an
to
episode.
Vaginal bleeding.
Hey, Grandma.
Hi, Mom. For real, though. Hi, Stefan's mom. You listen. So a woman is suing Disney World, claiming that she was left with permanent injuries and vaginal bleeding after riding the biggest slide at...
What's his name?
At Typhoon Lagoon. Did you read any more about this and see what it was about?
I did. So she basically rode a water slide, and they gave us a very legal definition of a wedgie. But she was going down the water slide so fast that the water pushed her swimsuit and water. She kind of got like douched by it, but like really hard to the point that she like immediately stood up and was bleeding.
Yeah.
And it like the water caused like a hernia in her organ. Like it caused something to like, I don't even know what a hernia is, but it like did something.
So a hernia is when it breaks through tissue.
Jacob's face right now.
What, did you not know I'm also an MD? Like
I did not. No.
Literally, I always call myself an armchair dermatologist because it's like I love everything Dr. Pimple Popper. Like I watch her all the time, and because of that, it's like I just read fucking Wikipedia all the time about like all these different things. Anyway, so it's part like where your intestines go through, like in this case, the abdominal wall. So it's like something ripped in the abdominal wall, and the intestines came through. But
Hot.
so fetch. The thing that the reason I clicked on it is because we heard in the zeitgeist so much in the early 2000s about this fucking hot coffee thing. Do you remember that? It's like the McDonald's hot coffee.
You have to put like a
It's like
sign.
a $7 million lawsuit.
Yes, $7
right?
million lawsuit, and we heard all about it. And then we finally got to law school, and we learned that it was actually like really fucking hot. Like it really wasn't just a hot coffee.
Third-degree burns.
Yes,
Yeah.
like her skin was melting off, and like it literally ruined her vagina. Like it literally came apart.
Oh wait, that was another vagina case?
That was another vagina.
Oh, I don't
case.
remember that.
This is why I clicked on this one.
Oh, fun.
It fell in her lap. The coffee fell in her lap, and so it's like it literally was so bad that she like had to get reconstructive surgery. So it was like it wasn't that, and I was like, okay, let's think about this through that lens of the fact that it's like, okay, somebody else is suing, maybe it really was bad or whatever. After reading this, I was like, this is so much bullshit. Like,
Okay.
yes, you got hurt, but the complaint is like, oh, well, you should have told people that they needed to wear extra protective gear.
Oh, that part. Well, there's two parts to it. Well, the one is the warning about crossing your legs. And apparently she did cross her legs, but I guess she got some air on the slide. So when she bounced down, I don't think her legs were closed anymore. But she did get that notice. But yeah, the other was to wear... There should have been a notice to wear other protective clothing, which you're wearing a swimsuit.
The complaint was like, oh, one, they should have had a duty to inform her of all of the dangers that could have happened. And in particular, they should have warned her that as a female, she's particularly like susceptible to this like wedgie shit. And I was like,
I mean, that's a little biased. As a person
No.
having a vagina.
yes. First
should
of
be
all, a person
susceptible.
who has a vagina, not
Yeah.
a woman.
Yeah.
First of all. Second of all, it's like your clothing shouldn't matter because it's like you're assuming that women are going to wear like a crotchety thing when there could be a man in a thong, you know, or like a person with a vagina in like a thong, and that's equally wedgied. So I was like, no, that's bullshit. They're like, they were culpable because they used this is an allegation in the complaint. They're like, oh, well, they use the water to stop them at the bottom, right? So it's like you're going down this thing to use it as like a stop slowing down kind of thing. I'm like, you don't know that. Like, you're not a fucking engineer. Like, we don't know why you're using. It's just a pool. Like, you're just, you know what I mean? Like, they're saying that, and they're saying that like they should have had protective gear available for people, which I'm like, I think that's stupid. You can't warn people about every fucking possibility that could happen on a ride. Like, that's just ridiculous.
I agree. I mean, she still got hurt, so I agree she should get money for being hurt on the ride. But yeah, I don't think that the theme park has an active duty to be like, you have a vagina, here are the extra protections, here are the extra clothes you need to wear. I did like that, and I don't even remember exactly what this is, but I did like that they sued for loss of consortium.
Yes.
Which basically would that be her claim or the husband's claim?
It's the husband's claim.
It's basically the husband suing Disney, saying that he can't get that pussy anymore, and
Yes.
that it's impacting his relationship, and that is a legal claim that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it happens anytime somebody gets hurt like that. Do you not know this?
Fascinating.
Oh no, yeah, it's like if somebody gets hurt, the partner can file. Well, the partner can file for loss of consortium because it's if you're married.
Yeah.
We need to know, was her vagina? I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. But yeah, it's a claim.
So next time I go to Typhoon Lagoon, I should read like the bottom bullet point disclaimer, and it'll be like, courtesy swimming diapers are provided upon.
What do you want though? Like, what is a swimming diaper?
It could just be Folsom Street Fair at Disneyland.
Like, that's where I was like, this
park.
is bullshit. Like, yes, she did get hurt. Not that her claim, or like not that her bodily shit was bullshit. The whole claim, all these things that they were saying are bullshit. The ones that they mentioned are failing to provide, like I said, proper protective gear or clothing at the slide to prevent from injury. It's like, we're also assuming that there is protective gear. Like, you know what I mean? What is a protective gear for water slides?
I don't know. They have butt plugs. Like, could you have a little pussy plug in? Like, would that prevent water from going in?
They said that Disney was also negligent and breached its duties of reasonable care by failing to warn of the inherent dangers. Again, how are you supposed to know that you're going to get, like, water up your vagina? And that's going to hurt you in that way.
I would just assume you were going to get water around your vagina.
I would, yes.
So if your orifices are prone to not being super tight, maybe you want to wear a wetsuit or wear extra, or have some sort of extra precautions there.
And you're saying that should be on the person, right? Like, if you are scared of it, you should be wearing more.
I would. I mean, that's personal responsibility, But
they also said that Disney failed to adequately maintain and inspect the slide to prevent patrons from becoming airborne during the descent. Do they
Airborne?
have yeah, because she like...
Yeah.
Do we think that they...
Just give her a brick.
We just need to weigh you down.
Yeah. Don't worry about the pool at the end. You'll be fine.
Don't worry about the pool. I mean, I think that's weird. It's like, I'm sure they do maintain and inspect it, but whatever.
Right. I'm sure they do. And what's fascinating is I would probably be very interested to look up to see how many people that slide takes a day, a week, a month, a year. How many people have ridden that since it's been open?
Yes.
And how many or very few injuries have occurred?
Congratulations, Miss Wood, you just won your case. Like,
1 in 20 million, you're going to get extra water in your pussy.
But if you can't, like, if it's 1 in 20 million, it's like, this isn't a risk. It's a very low risk.
But at Disney, that's, 5 every in the life expectancy of the slide,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
I forget what it was called, but there was a documentary in the last couple of years that came out about claims like these at water parks, and apparently like it's a lot more common than you would think, and that there's a lot of like settlements to get it out of the news. So like after
water slides
of just water, like shady water parks in general. So like after watching that documentary and reading this, like I don't know, I guess I would be a little scared because it seems a little more common than we're led to believe. Like, I'm surprised this even made the news. Like, that Disney didn't.
And I read a lot of entertainment news and gossip and accident reports, and I have not heard of this one. That's why I'm fascinated.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised Disney didn't pay her to like keep this out of the news completely.
Here's the other reason why I think maybe my complaint is just with the lawyers. Like, yes, she got hurt, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She should get her coin. But like the lawyers, I'm like, really, bitch? Like, these are the arguments you're doing. They said Disney is liable for designing, constructing, operating, and maintaining the slide so that the pool of water was used as a means of slowing down rider speed. So they're saying that it's defective to begin with. Like, it's defective that they have a pool to stop people. Like,
yeah, that seems a little far-fetched.
If it was defective to begin with, we would have had so many more accidents.
Then the concept of a water slide is out the window. Yeah. Put on this headset and watch this. We'll spritz you with water.
Let me see if I can find the loss of consortium.
I haven't heard about that since law school, and I've never actually seen it, so I was really surprised that the husband. Because no, she had to have surgery.
Yeah.
She had like vaginal lacerations, and I get it.
As a direct and proximate result of Disney's negligence, as described above, Mr. Edward McGuinness has suffered loss of his wife's care, comfort, consortium support, and services.
Yeah.
And it actually does mean a lot to straight people, because it's like, then they like, I mean, first of all, are they really having sex? But no, because it's like if it does involve your ability to procreate, then it's like, oh, that's actually quite a bit of a loss.
Well, okay, and this may be a little ageist, but like, can you just sue your wife after she ages out of having children for loss of consortium?
Wow, problematic.
It's not.
I'm just kidding.
Problematique.
Problematique. No.
No.
Wait,
okay.
you're talking about when they got...
I'm just talking about a husband when the wife is like stops having the ability to have children.
Oh,
Can he
well,
sue her and be
no.
like loss of consortium?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think it's like because of negligence, because of somebody else's negligence.
I get that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're an entertainment podcast. This was a stretch, but it happened at an
God's
entertainment
negligence, yeah.
venue. Yes, there we go.
He wanted to do. He's like, oh, it's Disney, and you did something for Disney, so that's the connection.
That's actually
I
a
was
great segue. You've created for Disney. Has anything you created for Disney caused vaginal bleeding?
Not that I know of, or not that's in the news. So
Not that's in the news.
Oh, so you've settled.
I have a gag order.
Well, let's take a pivot to you, Jacob. Let's start by how would you describe your business? You are a craftsman in so many different kinds of ways. You use so many different types of techniques. How do you tell people what you do for a living?
It's very difficult actually to kind of describe what I do because I do so many different things. I wear a lot of different hats depending on what day it is. My main job, I have a full-time job where I'm a project manager for a large entertainment soft good company. We make backdrops and curtains and stuff for everything from Disney's to theme parks to
Oh, so you
Vegas
did one
shows.
Vegas. Yeah, a Vegas show.
All sorts of entertainment stuff. And then I freelance. I do commission projects for a lot of drag queens, entertainers, celebrities, personal projects, pet projects of people. And then I also have my own Handmade by Jacob website where I do accessories and drag-inspired jewelry.
Crowns. I
Yeah.
love the acrylic crowns. I need to get one for myself. Well, so you're not, you have a day job, like you said, you're doing this project thing. So how much of your time are you doing, obviously probably 40 hours a week for this regular
40
job?
plus, yeah.
Yeah, and then how much are you working on all these other projects as well?
Whatever hours are left in the day.
Yeah, perfect. That's pretty much how I do drag.
Yeah,
It's I have my job and I'm like, okay, I've already eaten dinner. Let's go back to sewing some shit.
Exactly.
I read on your website that you grew up in a very handy household. Your parents were carpenters and sewers and things like that. How do you think that has shaped you, and do you think you'd be the same without that influence?
Well, I was actually just with my family this weekend at my grandfather's funeral, and we were talking about all the different projects we've worked on over the years and various things like that. And it kind of hit me that a lot of people, I guess most people, didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where my dad was in construction, so we had access to power tools and materials and things like that. And then my mother owned a sewing store, so we were quilting and sewing drapery and things like that. So those tools were always around us. And then both of the adults in my life were always making something and doing something.
That's
So
amazing.
It was always around us.
I think that's the same. It's people with families who grow up their parents are musicians or something. It's oh yeah, we just all play violin. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Not a lot of people have that kind of background where it's their parents are kind of craftspeople to begin with, and you have just it there and available to you. So how I know that you have a background in theater as well, so it's you were able to go and you have a bachelor's degree in theater, correct?
Yeah. So my background with my parents, both construction and then sewing, I was always involved with projects. I got involved with theater in high school. I counted up. I did 40 productions before I graduated high school.
40 in high school?
How is that even possible?
I would do the community theater, the high school, and then there was a local college that I did a lot of productions at too.
Jesus
so,
Christ. So literally by the time you were in college, you're I got it.
And I just, you get involved with things that you like doing. And theater is really fun. You're working with a tight group of people. Everyone brings their skills, and everyone's skills are different. But you're all working on the same common goal to achieve something amazing and special and magical together. And that kind of group effort was always really exciting. And it was also a physical thing. It's not I don't know, we live in such a digital world nowadays, but in theater, everything is real. Something is physically there on stage. Someone is physically manipulating it. It's a real feeling that the audience shares with what's going on stage right there. So I got, I did 4 years in North Carolina School of the Arts. my goal was to do Broadway set design, and I worked all over the East Coast doing theater and all over the place. Really liked it, but I got the heck out of it after a little bit. I love theater, but it wasn't. The business side is a real part of it, and that's not something that I gelled with at the time.
Yeah, I understand that for
yeah.
sure. For sure.
I know that we both share Vegas as a background. Can you tell us a little bit more about moving there and some of the work you did there?
Yeah, so after I did theater on the East Coast, I took a break, went back to North Carolina, and I felt like I was kind of trapped. I figured out I didn't want to do theater. But I wasn't sure if my skills translate anywhere else. So I kind of spent some time applying to jobs and stuff, and ended up going to work for Cirque du Soleil in Vegas. And that was like my first real adult job. I was paid to manage people and use the skills I knew and learned and share them with people, and I love that. So Cirque kind of helped tie my background in theater with the management side and make a living out of it.
Yeah. What was the exact job at Cirque? Were you doing like set stuff?
I actually was in Vegas on a layover, and I saw a Cirque production of O at the Bellagio.
Oh my God,
still
O is phenomenal.
We went to Vegas for my birthday, and she turned down going to Kelly Clarkson so
I
she
don't
could
need
go
Kelly
see
Clarkson.
O.
Okay, good.
I've been wanting
I
to
love
see
you, Kelly,
O.
but you made the right choice.
Thank you. I've been wanting to see O for years.
It's a great show.
And it literally ended up being the best experience ever. I was like, I'm just going to see if they have like a ticket today or whatever. I went, I was like super nice to the person at the ticket counter. She's like, oh yeah, I have this one here, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be like 200 whatever. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And she's like, are you just by yourself? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, let me see if I can get you a discount. She got me $100 discount on this ticket. And then I got there, went to the theater. I was literally 6th row, dead center.
Oh, amazing.
It was phenomenal.
The splash zone.
And I took the edible at the right time so that girl, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I saw that show, and then that was when I decided then and there that I wasn't going to go to New York.
Yes.
I knew that Vegas was my calling. So yeah, I worked for O for 5 years. I managed props and carpentry there.
Shut up.
Yeah.
How did they do the fire guy? Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's Ray. Ray's been in the show since the beginning. He lights himself on fire every night.
Literally every night he
know
lights
that.
himself on fire. Twice.
Yeah.
Twice in one show. And I found out, because of course I'm me, and it's like, oh my God, I need to know all the background thing. So like his wife is there, right? And his wife is like the person that puts him off every day.
Correct. And I was there right before they got a divorce. So I was very curious to see how it was to light your ex-husband on fire every night.
Oh my God, that's so much fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I spent 5 years at O and learned a lot. We're working with unique tools and materials and stuff because everything has to go in water. It's a very different kind of.
And it has to be like lightweight. It has to be very durable, so that it can be used over and over and over.
You would kick ass on the unconventional challenge.
Oh yeah.
Like they should have a show that's
on
like
Drag Race.
Yeah,
totally.
that's like all the Drag Race designers coming together to do
That
like
would be a
the
blast.
unconventional challenge.
I was like,
no hot glue allowed.
I was
hot glue.
scared to ask you this question, but have you heard of Making It, the show?
Yes.
Okay, I was afraid to ask you because I'm sure it's like people. It's like I tell people I do drag, like, have you heard of Drag Race? Like, blah blah blah.
There's a couple shows like that have reached out to me for casting, and then it gets very far, and then it's a casting call, so it's not the right balance.
It's
One day.
I forget what their names are. The two people that run it.
Amy Poehler and Nick
Offerman.
Yeah.
Yes, they're all about like crafting or whatever, and so anybody in any medium, like if you're a knitter or whatever, it's like they give you a challenge and you just like do it in your own medium.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But I think I'm kind of hard to pigeonhole. I don't.
That's why I
just
think you do
knit,
good,
I don't
yeah.
I do a lot of weird things.
I think that's why you'd be really great because it's like they would think that you're one thing and then you'd give them a whole different experience.
And that's what's so great about like the background in theater is that theater teaches you to the skill to learn skills. You know what I mean? So like I'm not just a knitter or a collage artist or anything like that. Like you're given a project and you learn how to break it down and assess how to do it, and then you learn those skills and you do it. And if you can't learn them, you find someone who can.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to ask you about, honestly, was like you have so many different kind of skills. How, I guess you just kind of answered. It's like I was going to say like how do you learn to blend them all together? But I guess you're like breaking it down. You're like, okay, this part is fabric, so I know that this is going to be sewing and I can do this type of thing. Or it's going to be like I'm working with styrofoam, I don't know, and it's like here's the tools that I can use to manipulate it in that way. But where's that like bridge of like how do you do carpentry and sewing at the same time?
And every project is different. Like for instance, the Katy Perry hat, the mushroom hat I did, I didn't know that it was going to end up being what it is and was now.
Yeah.
But you're given that project, and I had 3 different ways of fabricating that. And with the limited like timeline, I tried 3 different options at the same time, and you kind of like bounce around back and forth, and you're like, oh, this looks promising, this isn't, and you start to blend them together, and you come up with one solution.
What were the 3 different kinds of ways?
Oh, I use a product called Warbla.
Oh, I love Warbla.
The final one was just bead styrofoam that I carved and then sanded the fuck out of.
Yeah.
And I did a couple coats of epoxy sealer on there, but yeah, and then the original version I was doing a whole upholstered sewn version. So
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
It didn't look good, so we ended up with what you see now.
Yes.
So I guess when you're working on a project like this, like how much of it is your own creation versus like specifications that you're given? Is like what's the balance like with that?
Once again, every project is different. Sometimes someone will come to me with very specific requirements, and other times they're like, I just need something to have a wow moment at this part in the show. And it needs to be lightweight, and it needs to, whatever.
I'm sure it's always lightweight.
Not always. Often, if they want to skip on budget, like you can make something fast and heavy. Yeah. It just depends, and that, I think that's the key thing to any successful project is to know those parameters. I wrote down like knowing know the audience. That way, you know what someone who has paid money to see your work, what they're expecting. That way you can like deliver what they want. The other thing I wrote down is what's the story? This helps me prioritize things. So if someone comes to you and they want a giant lizard outfit, you could spend forever sculpting the scales, but maybe the scales aren't as important as the teeth.
Yeah.
And maybe because the lighting, you're not going to see all this detail in the scale, so you can kind of prioritize.
This is your theater shit right there. Because it's like, what's the story? It's like, what are we trying to tell? And it's like, and then it also helps you manage your time. Because it's like you said, scales, it might not matter, but it's like the moment is about the teeth. Like, it needs to.
And then there's like logistics. There's the function. Like, what does it need to do? Does it need to light up? Does it need to be lightweight? Is this going to be used multiple times? Is this going to be used once in a photo shoot and then go in the trash? And then you can deduce how to best construct it.
I feel like we're talking a lot about your projects and we haven't like given a visual for them. So like I know you've done like crowns for who is it? Nina West. You've done this like crown and scepter thing.
Some bigger things that was fun. That was a Johnny Wujek project with it was a Wizard of Oz theme.
Also another hot person you need to know, Johnny Wujek.
Johnny Wujek. Yeah,
Okay.
he was right around the corner here too.
He's a designer and he designs for Katy Perry and he's really hot. Okay, anyway.
And he's someone who I looked up to for years and years and years. And when I moved to LA, like I think we bumped into each other at a bar maybe, or we had some friends in contact, and then that's how I worked on the Katy Perry project.
Amazing.
It's like we developed a relationship working on other smaller projects, which built up to where that is.
That's awesome.
But I did like the people don't remember, but I mean they remember, but they don't know that I did the Alyssa Edwards camera dress.
You did the camera dress.
You did the Trixie hat with the books, right?
Trixie hat. Yeah.
Wait, Trixie hat. Oh, that was the red
books
look
with the little apple. Yeah.
She's the red looking. Yeah. I'm sure that had to be lightweight because
that was super lightweight. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was All Stars 3.
Yes.
And then you did Alyssa's camera dress All Stars 2.
Yes.
Okay. Did she was she on the runway? No, she came back in that dress.
No, she wore it on the runway for the reveal, and then when she came back and she lip sync against Tatiana in a different outfit that she could move in, I think.
Okay, keep going. Other ones.
I did a couple entrance looks for Trixie Mattel for DragCon.
The pink Jeep. You've done the pink Jeep. Yeah.
The lipstick, motorized lipstick ride.
Yes.
What else? The We're Here. I did that was one of my favorite projects. I worked on We're Here, and I'm really excited to see the new season of it with the new cast. But
yeah.
I worked on We're Here season 2, I believe, with Marco, who does a lot of the costumes.
Marco, yeah.
And I did a headpiece for Eureka. Done a bunch of things on that show, but that was the episode that they put up for nomination for, and they won for Emmy.
Oh my gosh! For costume?
Yeah. So Marco won a costume Emmy for that, and then he gave me like a little plaque, a little honorary Emmy.
Oh,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Like, never in my life thought that would happen. So
that's so cool. I'm trying to think of. I mean, you've made so many iconic things. Most recently, I'm thinking of the Selena S. Titties signed dress. Why are we laughing?
I think that's my. I don't. I think that won the Golden Boot, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that one won the Golden Boot?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Sorry for bringing that up.
No.
You can add that to the Emmy.
You're an award-winning designer.
No, it's memorable. Drag to me is not just glamour, perfection, designer. You know, I like it a little crunchy sometimes, and I like it. It's memorable. You remember it.
Oh, for
and
sure.
And you laugh. Everyone either
It's
said,
unique.
"I love it," or "That's fucking sucks."
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah.
You remember it,
Yeah.
definitely. I was impressed by like how you made it to stay on the body. I'm assuming it was like it was an undergarment, and then you made it to stay on top of the bar.
So it was Selena's vision, and she had a very, very specific idea of how it all came together. She's a phenomenal sewer, and she did the whole bodysuit.
Wow.
And then she came over and we templated out a poster board and twill tape all the signage and stuff. And that way all the signs are specific sizes.
And
I got
measurement,
it printed, and then we did all the graphic files, so everything, matched the typical LA sign and fit on there. Yeah.
And then you knew like the measurement to be like, okay, this is how far it needs to be from here and how. It's
Yeah, so we measured everything out in her body. I had a whole little diagram map. It looked like an electrical diagram to get it all on her. So
That's amazing.
I'm going to go off book and ask a little bit of a controversial question.
Oh, God,
Sure.
Have you had like a gay wedding cake moment where you've had to turn down someone because you didn't believe in their
Miss
message?
Maga, wasn't that the Miss Maga or Miss Maga?
Oh yeah.
I can't think of anything I've turned down. I definitely have turned down work.
But, like,
I turn down
logistically.
work all the time because I don't want to do it sometimes.
Sure.
Like it's not
Yeah.
an interesting project.
Yeah.
Or people want a replica of something, or it's just not interesting to me. And that's not what I do with my, our time
Yeah.
is limited on this planet, and I don't want to.
And you have a full-time job.
Yeah, that's not, I'm not doing this for to pay the bills. So.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything where I've like, no, I disagree with your values, kind of thing.
Okay.
But I definitely would.
And
Absolutely.
then I'll flip it around. What's the opposite? Like what is like your dream like project and like person to like design something for?
Oh goodness. I mean, like something custom for like a Gaga would be amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, probably a Gaga.
You got Katy Perry. You're almost there.
Yeah, well, and actually, I've worked with Gaga twice, but I've not done something for her specifically. So I work with a guy named Armando Farfan, who has a company called The Living Art of Armando in Vegas. He builds a lot of like acrobatic stuff for Pink.
Nice.
Stuff for Larev. He's a really talented, amazing guy. We did He builds Victoria's Secret wings. He's a phenomenal guy. But we did. I worked with him on when Britney Spears had her residency. We did these giant light up wings.
Cool.
So I helped him on those, and then we did. Let's see. With Perry Meek, we did Lady Gaga's. It was the Art Pop tour, and she had these big gold wings for her entrance look. So we made those in like 2 weeks. It was a lot of work.
Jeez.
Got to run, wear those and run around the shop and stuff. And then I worked on the Rain on Me video with Gaga. So Armando did the water wings that she wears in the video, which are really beautiful. And the video doesn't quite show them off as great as they are.
Yeah.
But he called me on set, so I got to be there on set all day. And
For
it
the
was
Rain on Me?
right before
I was going to say COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was right there. It was voting day. I forget. Yeah, it was like March 6th or something weird like that. And Gaga's on set there, and you're out. And my job was to once the take was done, was to run out there and in the pool of water and to hold the wings because they were really heavy. To hold the wings while her her makeup artist and the director came over and shared notes and stuff. And you're standing there right behind Gaga, holding it, and she's right there. Her tattoos are right there, and all you want to do is like cry and tell her how much you love her and stuff, and you just
So you did. I was kidding.
stand there very professional and then do your job. But that was a great moment.
That's so cool. I wanted. You said it was like a tight turnaround for the 2 weeks for the wings. What I mean,
It's always a tight
It's
turnaround.
always
Every
a tight
project.
turnaround. Yeah,
always.
I think the one that I knew was a tight turnaround because I think you said it in like one of your posts was Shea Coulee's like purse thing that she had.
So they did what was it, All Stars
7.
7. Okay.
All winners,
I get
yes.
all this right.
Bro, I know you've worked on them, but I know.
I'm
like,
the worst, yeah. And then they the whole cast went on the View, and so they had a moment with Whoopi Goldberg, and Shea Coulee is a huge fan, and Whoopi inspired her at a young age. So she had a drawing that she'd done of Whoopi, but she didn't want to just carry on a drawing, so I made her a custom little purse, and she flipped a switch, and the whole thing kind of opens for her, very easy and effortless. Yeah.
I think you posted a video about it, and you're like, "Oh, I started this morning," and I was like, "Holy shit, you got it done in a day!"
Well, and actually, I had my a family event this weekend, but a day before, another queen messaged me and was like, "I have a huge award show. I need a purse. Here's some rough ideas," and I'm like, "I have to do this in 24 hours."
God,
What is your process when you get a commission, both from kind of just like turntable, like turning it around and actually making it, but like legal process? Like, do you have a contract that you work with? I'm assuming when you're working with some of these bigger pop stars, you have to kind of like sign away your rights.
Usually
of the
with the
creations.
bigger pop stars, there's big NDAs, and my rule of thumb is I don't post or talk about it until it's out.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a couple other and then I kind of forget what's been released and what's not. So I try and think through.
And they're all
things.
different timelines. It's like
Yeah. Some things you make and the next day it's on TV,
Yeah.
and then other things you make and a year and a half
Months,
later
yeah.
it pops up. So it gets kind of confusing to keep it.
Oh,
all
I'm
straight.
sure. Yeah.
And then you're scrolling through your phone trying to when did I do that? What year?
Apple has the like you can search for the like date, or like you can search like October 2023 and see the photos from that month, but it's still like you're still scrolling through all the things.
Yeah. And Google does the you can search for items sometimes. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it doesn't know.
So you're like mushroom hat.
Yeah.
Like like here are the pictures of the mushroom hat.
But yeah, typically the bigger names have NDAs, and then once you work with them a while, like it's a very like professional, respectful, like you get each other kind of thing.
Do they give you like a term sheet or anything like that? It's like okay.
Depends on the project.
Yeah, okay.
And then the smaller projects, typically it's a very like respectful process, and you talk through it. But after you work together a couple times, it goes faster. But when I have new clients, I definitely put in writing something, about what their expectations are.
Even an email,
Even in the email.
Well, do you ever have like video projects coming back to get clearances for the work that you've made?
No.
Okay.
No. The way I work is they own it. They own that piece, so it's not tied to me at all. So
Okay.
But one of the business, working in entertainment, I work for Disney and Cirques and other companies, and so I see how they do things, and I do that just on a smaller scale. Like I don't have a legal team, but I know what the legal team does, so I kind of like cross my T's and dot my I's.
Yeah, I feel like it's always going to be like a work made for hire type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the thing you did for Disney then?
Well, actually, so I moved away from Cirque du Soleil in Vegas to a company out here that was building all the Galaxies or Rise of the Resistance.
Yes,
No
I remember when you were
shit.
doing that. It was so much fun to
Yeah.
like see your pictures and stuff.
Well, not during it, but
Well, not during, but yes.
afterwards.
So you made things for the park.
Yeah, so I work for a company that we built all of the scenery inside all the interior scenes. So Disney delivered
Wow.
what their vision was, and we executed it with materials that we had established that were safe and wouldn't fall down on people and cause vaginal bleeding. Yeah.
Cause vaginal bleeding.
Yeah.
Now we're making a circle.
Exactly.
Now we're getting back. This is why
See,
you
I told you it was cohesive.
You were right.
Vaginal bleeding.
No vaginal bleeding in the projects. That
Title
you,
of episode.
title of no vaginal bleeding. Amazing. How long was that? I'm sure it was been
that was
years.
Year and a half, 2-year project.
Yeah. I mean, it took years. I can't even imagine the planning to make a new park and then to kind of like be able to get all these little pieces to fit into this land.
And that
It's
was
like,
fun because that was the first time I was working like in the middle of Disney and just watching how they worked and watching how when you're in these big group meeting situations, what lawyers are there and what contract handlers and what creative people are there, and they would get clearances and approvals real quick. And then after that project, I worked for Universal. I did the transformation from Jurassic Park to Jurassic World, the ride.
Oh, nice.
So, and that was an even more complicated project because we had like Universal and Comcast and Legendary and Amblin, and they all had to sign off on every little change. So it just gets more and more complicated because each of those entities has their own, stake in the game.
Yeah. And so it's like when you say they have to make every change, it's like you're changing a sign and you're fabricating a new sign, and they're going to be here and be like, okay, well, we don't like the font or like something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which actually happened on I guess I can tell this story. I used to work at Michael Jackson and Cirque, and I did the creation for that. And in the lobby, all the wallpaper is Michael Jackson song titles. Well, we weren't open yet, and the creative team came through, and they loved it. And then the Michael Jackson estate team came through, and they pointed out a typo in Shimon. And they had to rip down all the wallpaper, all the
what?
custom wallpaper.
So what is the proper way to spell it? Do you remember?
I'm not the wallpaper graphic editor.
You're like, not my problem. Not my problem.
Wow. I wanted to ask you about the crowns and like how you started getting with the crowns. I don't know why I think they're so cool. They're amazing. You make them out of acrylic.
Yeah,
Is that
so
right?
I purchased a laser cutter a couple of years ago, and that's kind of a new technology that's you're able to have in your own house. Usually you had to like shop that out and things like that. So being able to rapid prototype and being able to cut a material that you didn't used to be able to cut so intricately is a lot of fun. So I can play with like tolerances of like what size, if I'm bolting two pieces of material together, it's not just as simple as drilling a hole through there and putting a bolt there.
Yeah.
I take a caliper out and I measure the bolt and I figure out the exact
how much it can take. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it might even be too heavy. It's like three or four pieces together, and it might be too heavy. I think the thing I'm so fascinated about them is because, one, you make them like all adjustable. They're all, and you just use like a back or a baseball cap.
Yeah, like a snapback from a ball cap. Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know why I think that's so genius, but like it's like so smart.
Well, everyone has touched that in their life. They know exactly how it works. They know it's comfortable. They know it's adjustable.
And it's way
like
better than like
thing.
a Velcro or something like that, or like one of those straps that some baseball caps have, like where you have to pull it through and like whatever. It's just a snapback. I think that's so genius. And the other thing, you're gonna like feel really weird about this, but like you have like templates for these crowns where you just like slide the little pieces in. And I don't know why I'm so gobsmacked.
How do you know all that?
Because I go to your Instagram.
Okay.
You got a stalker.
I'm like, I think I told you when I first met you, I'm like, I am a fan. Like, I am
really
a
cool.
fan of your fabrications.
So most of my work I do alone. You know? Like, so when people like you, I'm super flattered that you saw that process because I think it's cool, but it's really like tedious and boring.
But like you made the template to do it, so it's like you just put the little pieces in, and then you screw in the little things, and then you just
keeps the
lift it
alignment
up.
on, and yeah.
You're such a good maker that you make your own manufacturing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And to nerd out a little bit, so each guide you see, that's probably like version 7 or version 8.
Amazing.
So I have like a whole stack of like old prototypes of like, oh, this is great, I love this, and then like I get 2 crowns in, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like this could be better.
And you just like shift it.
Constantly refining, yeah.
I hope you don't have like a pet rabbit or anything because you're gonna come home and it's gonna be like on the pot.
Oh, no, I have a pet bird, and his name is Oliver. Hey, Oliver.
Hi, Oliver. Shout out to Oliver.
He keeps me company in the shop.
Have you done anything for like cosplay people, like professional cosplayers?
I do a lot of stuff for like commission projects and things like that. So,
okay, cool.
Like a guy who's a huge Barbie fan, he commissioned me to build a full size like Barbie plastic brush, like
like in the movie.
Inch.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
What are your like top 3 commissions?
Top 3. Probably the Katy mushroom hat, just because that's like that kind of blew up. I mean, that was supposed to be a promo shoot. I didn't even know what it was being used for, and the next thing you know, it's like I was just in Vegas, and like from my hotel room, you can look out there and you can see it's
so cool
on the side of a building. 100.
She travels with it too. I guess she did like a private concert for Adobe, where she called it like Adobe, but she like took.
That's funny.
My friend was at it, and like she sang Adobe the whole time.
Adobe.
But she took the mushroom hat with her.
But I think that was Chakra's hat, if I recall right. So I made the promo one that's in all the photos, and then when they liked that photo, I think that was used in the tour, and then the tour costumes were made from that. So mine was styrofoam and would not hold up on stage.
That sounds like
another example of like it was a photo shoot only. It did not need to hold up or be on tour.
Yeah.
So it was made out of styrofoam, which is brittle.
Just for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably in pieces somewhere now.
It sounds like Moira Rose. Adobe.
Adobe.
Okay, that was one.
Oh God, the Alyssa camera dress was also kind of iconic, and that was something that I was at that time. I was in Vegas, and I wasn't working with, and Drag Race was really starting to take off then. You know, that was a really fun project.
That's pretty iconic. I think if anybody remembers like Alyssa's legacy, they're going to remember that episode and what she was wearing for this reveal moment or whatever. So I think that's pretty iconic.
And Alyssa loves that dress too.
Yeah.
Even though she got sent home, she loves that dress.
It's a great dress. Yeah.
And like after that project, Alyssa and I have become friends, and I have worked with her a handful of times doing small projects. I actually just finished up a project that I don't know what it's for, which is how most of the projects are. So and
then you're going to see it on TV and be like, oh, okay.
You're like, now I can post about it.
Yeah, now I can post about it. Yeah.
Okay, number 3. Do you have another one?
Another weird thing I made, I did a hat for Miss Universe contestant. I think it was Miss Germany.
Oh.
And they wanted a whole like Disney castle kind of headpiece thing. Had to be
I didn't
lightweight.
see that.
I mean, this is probably 8-9 years ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it had to be lightweight. Had to be. I think they had a limited budget. All this stuff. So I literally it was like Starbucks cups, like cardboard tubes.
Amazing.
Doilies.
See, this is why.
Yeah.
I am so fascinated. I love old things and turning them to new things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like any type of like reusable material or anything like that. I'm like, if you can change it and give it a new life, I think you're amazing. Like,
Well, that's theater, and that's also drag. And that's what I love about drag is like it's not just glamour. Not that anyone can do that. There is a skill to that, and it's very difficult.
You
but
could never do glamour.
Are you looking in the mirror?
Wow.
I knew you were going to say something about it, so I was ready for that.
But I always love when you flip the script a little bit, and there's a surprise in there.
Yeah.
An unconventional material or something like that.
Is your house filled? Like, I'm just imagining that like Disney didn't use everything, so is your house just like filled with like Star Wars stuff that you've made?
Oh my God! Well, when I was with Cirque, it was even worse because it would be like old fabrics or random piece of an offcut material that retails for some of the plastics and things like that are very expensive, but they have no use for small scraps. I've pared down. I'm pretty organized, but I have like a 15 by 25 foot shop area now that's pretty organized. I have like 4 sewing machines, laser cutter, cutting area. Yeah, I spend most of my time in there. I really enjoy it.
Amazing.
It's part of your home or a separate shop? Okay, awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being with us here.
Yeah.
We're so
having
happy
me.
to know about you. Where can our listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at HandmadebyJacob. You can find me on Twitter. Not Twitter. X or whatever.
Oh, girl.
I thought you were going to give us like your alternative.
You can DM me for that Twitter.
The professional.
Yeah. But no, yeah. Instagram is mostly where I post things.
Yeah.
And also my website, handmadebyjacob.com.
Awesome. I am a fan. I said it when I first met you. I think people who can craft things, and especially how your mind works in so many different materials, it's so amazing.
Well, thank you.
It's so happy to be here.
And warm is my heart. That's why I do what I do.
Yay!
Yeah, it's always fun to see like the amazing things you create. Just following you on Instagram,
I know.
and then getting to see you in person,
Well,
knowing
and
you live
there's
down the street.
Yeah, please keep posting.
A lot
We
of fun
love it.
stuff coming up ahead on the whatever might be filmed or being filmed
Yeah,
right now.
can you give us like a teaser or like nondescript?
I've made a lot of stuff that's coming up. So
That's coming up.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm very excited.
Follow
A lot
on
of good stuff. A lot of really good
Instagrams.
stuff. So thank you.
Nothing for me yet. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening to another episode of Reading is Fundamental. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Because reading is what?
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Reading is Fundamental.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you the show for free. As a reminder, Reading is Fundamental is brought to you by Fleshbot.com, the leading resource for gay erotica.
DM us with your comments, questions, and let us know what you want to hear.
Or you can email us at readingisfundamentalpodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time,
Remember to read your damn contracts. Why?
because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Fundamental.
Fundamental.